A selection.
What are layers?
What is resolution?
What is a JPEG?
What is TIFF?
What is RGB?
How do I crop a picture?
What is a zoom tool?
What is a clone stamp?
What are levels?
My name is Eric Basir, and I have produced this unique photo restoration and retouching foundations video course to answer all these questions and more. In my classes and workshops, I have taught hundreds how to preserve and restore their personal photographic collections with Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Photoshop Elements. Now you can have me as your personal instructor in this 10-lesson course. After studying the videos and easy-to-read workbook, you'll finish with a firm foundation of how to use Adobe Photoshop or any other photo editing program confidently and correctly. Welcome to the July 17th edition of Ask the Retoucher. My name is Eric Basir, and I'm the retoucher who you can ask any question about Photoshop live every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Central Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to get those time zones right. I'm getting them right. 8 a.m. Mountain and 7 a.m. Pacific. Now there are other time zones throughout the world, and I haven't yet become savvy enough to figure those out. However, if you're watching this as a recording, if you can find those time zones where you fit and translate in those time zones, you can join in too. And we have a interactive format. As you can see through the player, if you are viewing live, we have a chat box there. So if you have any questions about what we're doing, what you'd like, topics you'd like to learn more about, regarding retouching, regarding digital photo editing, enhancement, restoration, I'm here at your service. And it's free of charge. It doesn't cost a dime. And of course, I like to say it's sponsored by our fine livestream.com and of course the Photo Restoration and Retouching Foundations course, which is available. And it is a wonderful investment for those of you who want to use Photoshop correctly to work on your pictures. It gives you the foundations. There's a million courses out there and books, maybe 1,000, who will tell you all about all the details of using Photoshop or some other photo editing program, and give you tips and tricks and all kinds of good stuff. But very few, well, none that I've seen, focus solely on the fundamentals, solely on the foundational aspects, which are actually rooted in art and photography. Because if you don't have a foundation in the basics of art and photography, even a little bit of journalism, you may not be able to work on your pictures effectively without either damaging them or changing them to the point that they are no longer what they originally were. See, good photo retouching is something that people should not notice. They cannot notice it. You know, when you're working on a picture and it's beginning to look different, it has changed. And if you are not, how can I say, conscious of the original, the spirit of the original, you will change it. And when you alter what was into something else, it becomes a fabrication. It becomes, in a nice way, it becomes an illustration. In a not so nice way, it becomes a lie. So we have to be careful when we're working on our pictures, even if they are used for commercial purposes. Some pictures do tend to look fake or plastic. I've heard people say, it looks photoshopped, which is, improper English. Photoshop is not a verb; it's actually a noun. So you can't Photoshop something as much as you can, hot water something. So if I say I hot watered something, people are wondering, you did what? And actually boiled something. So is it different? So if I say I boiled it, I hot watered it, these are not. We got to be careful with our language, but whatever people want to call. I grew up calling photocopies Xerox. Xerox it, So to this day, Xerox, still kind of deals with that. And of course, everybody knows, almost everybody is familiar with the term Google it. Yeah. So we have Photoshop it, Google it, but I prefer to try to stick with technically accurate terminology. And as an instructor, as your teacher, I should set a good example and use proper terminology. So, this week we have a few questions that I'd like to deal with. And I usually get messages, from the allexperts.com site. I've been on there quite a few years. I just looked at it this morning, and we have over 200 answers. I have over 200 answers on that site. I didn't know it was that many. So, anyways, you're talking. I don't think it's 200 answers. I think it's got to. They must be including me with someone else. It just hasn't been that many. But I got questions going back to 2000 and way back. It's possible. It's quite possible. Anyways, here's a question. It says, I need to have someone take some photos of me with my digital camera in order to have my picture superimposed on some photos, like my head superimposed on someone else's, and my picture inserted in other photos. I know absolutely zero about photography or Photoshop. What I am hoping to find out: what things do we need to be aware of or make sure we do when taking pictures of me in order to have them inserted and or my head superimposed? I mean, in order to make sure the photos are good enough or suitable to be used for superimposing, inserting. I'm uploading a picture here of the type we'll be putting me into. I'll try to get that up for you on the screen right here, and we'll mix that up for you. I'm uploading a picture here of the type we'll be putting me into. And we will be okay just using a regular non-professional digital camera in terms of quality of the pictures to be superimposed or inserted. I'm not asking what type of camera to get. I already have one. I just want to make sure that